If you're a real Warriors fan living in the US, this video is for you. From coast to coast, America is buzzing after last night's game. Draymond Green just reminded the whole country why he runs the West. The Golden State Warriors have been no strangers to headlines over the past decade, but what's happening right now feels different. It's not just about championship banners, flashy plays, or even the ongoing debates about Stephen Curry's legacy. No, this time it's about internal pressure, frustration, and the risk of losing one of the brightest young stars the franchise has managed to develop. And in true Warriors fashion, Draymond Green isn't keeping quiet about it. In fact, he's speaking out in a way that could shake the very core of the organization. This is a bombshell moment, one that could decide whether the Warriors dynasty reinvents itself or crumbles before our eyes. Let's set the stage. Golden State is in a tricky position. They're still trying to squeeze every last ounce out of Steph Curry's prime years. Curry is 37, and while he continues to play at an elite level, the Warriors know the window is closing. At the same time, the team has invested heavily in young talent players like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and even newer names they hope can carry the torch when Curry eventually passes it on. But this balancing act between staying competitive now and developing for the future has created cracks in the foundation. And those cracks became painfully visible when Draymond Green, never one to hold back, decided to speak his mind. Draymond has always been the emotional engine of the Warriors. He's the guy who says the things everyone else might be thinking but doesn't want to say out loud. And when he spoke recently, he didn't just touch on the team's struggles. He threw a spotlight on how the front office and coaching staff are handling the development of their young core. In particular, his comments seemed to circle around one name, Jonathan Kuminga. The 22-year-old forward has shown flashes of star potential, and in stretches, he's looked like the most athletic, explosive player on the roster not named Curry. But for every highlight dunk or defensive stop, there's been inconsistency sometimes in his play, and sometimes in the opportunities he's given. Draymond has now gone public with concerns that the Warriors might be mishandling their future. He said, in essence, that you can't keep asking young stars to wait, while also failing to give them the confidence and responsibility to grow. He warned that if the Warriors aren't careful, they could lose Kuminga or another young standout either mentally or physically, through a trade or free agency. And that's not just some throwaway comment. That's Draymond sounding the alarm. Think about the weight of this. Draymond has been around long enough to see what happens when locker rooms start to fracture. He lived through the Kevin Durant saga, the infamous practice fights, and the constant outside noise about whether Golden State's dynasty was finished. If he's saying this publicly, it means the concern inside the locker room is very real. For a team that has already seen Klay Thompson walk away, who now relies on Curry more than ever, losing someone like Kuminga before he even hits his peak would be devastating. The fans have noticed, too. Social media is buzzing with reactions. Some say Draymond is just stirring the pot again, doing what he always does, being loud, being controversial, making headlines. But others see it as the truth that nobody else in the organization has the courage to put into words. They believe Draymond is speaking directly to the front office, to Joe Lacob, to Mike Dunleavy Jr., and even to Steve Kerr. The message is clear: if you want this dynasty to last beyond Curry, you need to handle your young stars with care. And this raises a bigger question. What exactly is going on between Kuminga and the Warriors? There have been whispers all season long about frustration, about playing time, about confidence, about whether Kuminga feels like he's truly trusted to be the guy after Curry. Remember, he's already had stretches where he's hinted at being unhappy, where he's expressed subtle but telling signs that he wants more. For a player this young and this talented, that can spiral into a real problem fast. Draymond, being a veteran, understands this dynamic. He knows that every young player wants to feel valued, wants to know he's more than just a placeholder. And when you're trying to bridge the gap between eras, the Curry era and the post-Curry era, it's dangerous to let resentment grow. We've seen this before in the NBA. Talented young stars leave teams not because of money, but because of opportunity. because they didn't feel like the franchise believed in them. Now, here's where it gets even more intense. Reports around the league suggest that rival teams are already watching this situation closely. They see Kuminga as a potential breakout star, someone who could transform their roster if he ever became available in trade talks. Imagine a young forward with explosive athleticism, defensive potential, and the ability to get to the rim at will, joining a team that will make him the centerpiece. For those other GMs, this is a dream scenario. And for the Warriors, it's a nightmare. So why would Draymond risk saying this out loud? Some people think it's his way of protecting Kuminga. Draymond has always been about accountability, but he's also shown loyalty to teammates he respects. By speaking up, he might be sending a message to Kuminga: I see you. I believe in you. Don't give up. At the same time, he's sending a message to the front office: don't make the mistake of underestimating this guy. Build around him before it's too late. But of course, not everyone in the Warriors camp is happy about these comments. Behind the scenes, there's concern that Draymond's words might fuel even more rumors. That instead of calming things down, he might be making the situation worse. If Kuminga was already feeling unsure, now the entire basketball world knows about it. Opposing teams will smell blood. Media outlets will speculate endlessly. And that adds even more pressure on the Warriors to make a decision. Let's zoom out for a moment. Golden State has a history of bold moves. Signing Durant. Trading for Andrew Wiggins when D'Angelo Russell didn't fit. Drafting risky prospects like James Wiseman, even if it didn't work out. They've never been afraid to gamble. But the Kuminga situation feels different. This isn't about swinging for the fences. This is about protecting the core of what could be their future. And the idea that the Warriors might risk losing him not because he doesn't have the talent, but because of mismanagement is what makes Draymond's comments sting so much. The ripple effect could be massive. If the Warriors lose Kuminga, what message does that send to other young players? To Moses Moody, to rookies coming into the system, to anyone thinking about joining Golden State down the line? It would say that the team is stuck in the past, unwilling to pass the torch, clinging too tightly to what once worked. That's not the image a franchise with championship aspirations can afford. And then there's Curry. We know he's loyal, we know he's a competitor, and we know he'll play until the wheels fall off. But even Curry understands that dynasties don't last forever. If the team around him is crumbling, if Draymond is calling out management, if Kuminga feels alienated, if fans are frustrated, how long before the pressure becomes too much? Steph might not leave, but the weight on his shoulders will grow heavier. Draymond's outburst might have been loud, but maybe that's exactly what the Warriors need right now. A wake-up call. An uncomfortable truth that forces them to confront the reality of their situation. Because the stakes are huge. Either they find a way to keep Kuminga engaged, happy, and central to their future, or they risk losing a player who could have been the face of the next era of Golden State basketball. And here's something else to consider: Draymond himself is not getting any younger. He's been through suspensions, altercations, and countless battles. He knows his own time as an elite defender is winding down. Maybe part of his motivation here is legacy. Maybe he wants to make sure the team he helped build doesn't collapse when he's gone. Speaking out could be his way of passing the baton, of making sure the Warriors don't waste the one player who looks ready to carry it. So where do we go from here? That's the million-dollar question. The front office has decisions to make. Do they double down on veterans and hope Curry can deliver one more ring? Or do they pivot, giving players like Kuminga the keys to the franchise sooner rather than later? Draymond has made his position clear. Now it's up to the decision-makers to show whether they've heard him. The bottom line is this: the Warriors are standing at a crossroads. On one side, there's the comfort of the familiar, the dynasty, the championships, the veterans who built it all. On the other side, there's the uncertainty of the future, with Kuminga and others ready to step into the spotlight. And in the middle stands Draymond Green, shouting to anyone who will listen that the Warriors risk losing their next star if they don't act fast. It's a powerful warning. It's a public warning. And it's one that fans, players, and front offices across the league are now paying attention to. Whether the Warriors choose to listen could define not just the rest of the season, but the next decade of Golden State basketball.